Hello and welcome to Dad's Do Dinner with me, Chris Zackley. You're very welcome and thank you for joining us today. I'm very excited, as usual, because we are going to take advantage of this beautiful spring weather. I wouldn't tell you to look outside because all we can see is a brick wall, but it is sunny, I promise. And to carry on with our lovely sort of eating outside theme and looking at spring recipes. Last time we did tapas, and this week we're going to be doing my take on a chicken pad thai. Now, you may not have heard of a pad thai before. It's actually sort of a traditional takeaway dish from Thailand, and we're going to be doing my version of it because my body don't cope with the spice anymore. So my version has no spice in it, but it's got lots of flavour, so it should be super yummy. And we're going to split this recipe up so it's nice and easy to digest, no pun intended, because otherwise it's going to seem a bit crazy, this one. But I promise, as long as you follow my recipe, you'll have a great time. So shall we give it a start? Excellent, let's go. So, if you join me over here, we're going to have a look at what I've pre-prepared just to save a tiny bit of time for today's filming. So in here, we've got some fry light and about 10 grams of butter. You might be wondering why I need butter, but it's only because the butter right at the very end of this whole wonderful dish will give the pad thai noodles a really glossy shine finish, which will be yummy scrummy to eat. So in here we've got some bean sprouts. These are about 49p from Schmesco, and then we've got some fresh coriander. That's quite important because we're going to be cooking with it, so fresh coriander and some spring onions as well. Hopefully not too expensive for you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to quickly fry all this up now. So I'm going to put it on a very high heat, and as we do this I'm going to explain what we're going to add to it. So this is basically the only frying bit of the whole recipe. Okay, so we're going to put all those three ingredients together, and then we're going to add to it the following: my famous garlic paste, because I don't do no crushing. Some ginger puree, because I don't do no peeling. And we've got some salt and 2 eggs. Don't panic, the eggs are not here to make some sort of weird souffle. I will explain all in a second. So, as this pan warms up, we're going to get the eggs whisked, and this is how scientific I'm going to be. I'm going to crack 2 eggs into a large cup. 1, 2. I would count in Thai, but I have no idea how to speak Thai, so I ain't going to bother. And I'm just going to rinse my fingers very quickly. Marvellous. Right. Take a technical apparatus known as a fork and whisk those up. So the secret to good whisked eggs is to make sure that as you pull the eggs out with the fork that they're not lumpy and bumpy like that. Once they're nice and smooth, you know that they've been whisked properly, and that also applies to normal whisking of eggs. Apologies, because I'm right-handed, you can't see very much. Take about a minute to do this. Once all your eggs are whisked up, you can leave those to the side for now. Perfect. So our pan is now starting to heat up, so we're just going to gently spatula it around. I had a lovely conversation with my friend Sarah the other day, who said that she actually realised when cooking the other day that a spatula would be heaven. I told you so. This will already start to smell incredible. Coriander is fabulous. It is so wonderfully aromatic. You may have seen it on some of our previous recipes, and I don't blame you for using this in as much food as possible. Traditionally I've used it in Far Eastern food, but also more often now in Middle Eastern food and Mexican food, because it is so versatile. Now what I don't want to do is completely overcook this, so because actually pad thai is more of a boil and stew sort of recipe. This is just really to add in the oil and butter element into the vegetables. So I'm just going to add in my garlic now. 2 large heaped teaspoons, please, nice and garlicky. And 1 heaped teaspoon of ginger, please. And then a really nice pinch of salt. And that is all you'll need for this recipe, because there will be other ingredients that we come on to shortly that will rock your world when it comes to amazing salty flavours. So we're literally just going to do all this really quickly. I don't want this overcooked at all. So in a second I'm going to put in the egg, and then we're going to take it off the heat immediately. And what I want you to do is fry this egg in with everything so it scrambles up really nicely, so you've got an egg scramble in the bottom and all around and inside the veg. I don't want to see any liquid egg in this bit. It's really important that all the egg scrambles and fries up so that it seals and becomes nice and stable. Right, can you see now I've already got scrambled egg? So literally, I reckon 5 more seconds. Let's count together. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How are we doing? I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to give it another 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I think we are good to stop. And that's it. How quick was that? A lovely start to our pad thai dish, which is ace. So we're going to take this off the heat now. So me and my gorgeous glamorous assistant are going to do a bit of ballet in the kitchen now. So I'm going to move towards the plate and she's going to back off for me. Are we ready? Let's go. So now it's exciting time to see what other ingredients we're going to be adding to our pad thai today. So I'm going to do it as we go along, just to save ourselves a little bit of time. So really important for this dinner is peanut butter. Please use any peanut butter that you want. We've gone for one that was on offer. You don't have to. Chunky peanut butter is preferred, but I know not a lot of people. I've sort of doubled up on this teaspoon, but don't worry, if you want to put 2 separate teaspoons in, that's fine. But I don't think you need any more than that, to be honest. It's really to help with the flavour and the silkiness of the dinner. So that's that one done. The next thing we need to do is add in our tiny tin of anchovies. These are quite salty naturally, so a whole tin, and it's literally a 50-gram tin from our lovely favourite supermarket round the corner, Schmalby. And these are cheap, and they are great for flavouring these types of dishes. So I'm going to pour these in. Oh, there we go. Ooh, and apparently we're having the tin as well. There we go. Oops. Rinse my hands because that was a bit oily. Right, next we're going to add, let's get rid of the maple syrup. You can use sugar if you want to, 50 grams of sugar or 50 grams of maple syrup. It's really only for flavouring and to give it a bit of a sweetness flavour. The next thing we're going to add in is our, what should we do next? Lime juice. Yum, yum, yum. Lime juice. Not just for a margarita. Let's get this in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Plenty lime juice. Next, white wine vinegar. I want about a tablespoon of white wine vinegar in here, please. Marvellous. The next we've got is, should we stick our veg stock in? If you want to use chicken stock extra, that's fine, but we're actually doing chicken pad thai noodles, so I'm going to use a vegetable stock. The next thing I'm going to put in is some fish sauce, which I just got again from our other competing supermarket called Schmesco. This keeps forever and ever in a day. So 1, 2, 3, that's plenty. You don't have to put that in if you don't want to. That fish sauce is totally optional because we put the anchovies in, but I just think it gives a bit more flavour to the whole dish. Next thing we're going to do, a bit of soy sauce. A few more this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. By the way, I'm counting, not telling you how many sprinkles to do because I'm not that scientific, as you know. A tiny pinch of my wonderful secret ingredient sumac. We got that from Schmazda. That's the one that rhymes with the car. Next thing we're going to add is a little bit of hoisin sauce. This is totally optional. Again, this will not have a huge impact if you don't put it in, but I like it because it just gives a nice little plum flavour, and we're going to add about 50 grams to this as well. Right, now we're going to finish off with a couple of really important bits. This is the key bit to the whole dinner, some Chinese 5-spice. I'm using this because I can't use Thai spice, which you can also get because it's got quite a lot of chili in. So we're just going to dust the top of the whole dish in Chinese 5-spice, and that's all I want to see. I hope you can see that on the camera. All I've done is dust the top. That will be plenty. And then a very nice little treat to finish it off is some beautiful sesame seeds. And as you can see, we got these from the Chinese supermarket for £1.75. Again, nice sprinkle all over the top of your pan. It's going to be yummy scrummy. Right, so as you mix all this up, it'll sort of turn into a bit of a watery paste. Right, there we go. So once you've mixed all that up nice and evenly, you'll start to get a real mix of aromatic flavours now, and the vinegar's working in there as well. So we're going to be using these I got from the Chinese supermarket down the road that I've mentioned before. Super cost effective. This whole bag will feed 4 people easily. This is 400 grams. It's really important that they're dry noodles, and I'm using rice noodles. If you want to use wheat noodles, that's fine. I just think it tastes so much nicer with rice noodles, and these are actually from Thailand, so I'm going to use these, but 400 grams of dry rice noodles. Right, now this bit is where it might freak you out, which I don't want you to be freaked out. It's just an option. Okay, so you might be wondering what on earth I've got in here. This is an actual leftover roast chicken that we had on a Sunday, where we had some meat left on it, and we had obviously the leftover chicken bits. So I threw that into a pan, huge pan, covered it with water, brought it to the boil for about 5 minutes, and then I let it simmer on number 1 on electric or very barely blue on gas, and I just let it simmer for an hour and a half. And what happens is that the leftover chicken becomes very tender and it all comes off the bone. You also get all the nutrients and the bone marrow out of the bone as well. And it's really actually essential that you do that because it has actually got anti-sickness properties, which is very interesting. So I have done that with the leftover chicken, roast chicken that we had. If you don't want to do that, that's absolutely fine. Make your own stock. Check out our recipe for sausage casserole, and it teaches you how to make your own stock on there. Just use chicken stock, make up your own stock, and then you can use that instead of that. And then you can throw in prawns or some cooked chicken that you pre-bought, if you would prefer. But this is a great way of using a leftover roast chicken for another meal. So I'm going to use our leftover chicken. So as you can see, this has been on the boil for a while. It's really nice. We had a bit of paprika in there, but obviously that was just for flavouring our own chicken. But there's plenty of leftover chicken thigh, bit of chicken breast in there, and a bit of chicken leg. So there's lots of lovely leftover chicken in there. So we're going to pour this in now. Remember, at this point you can either use your own stock that you've just made previously, and add in either prawns or chicken or whatever meat you want to. Duck would be nice as well if you fancy a bit of duck. Get that all on the go. Mix that up, and then my glamorous assistant and I are going to do our ballet to the other side again. It will seem a little bit complicated, this one, because I'm using far more ingredients than we traditionally have done in Dad's Do Dinner, but I promise you the taste is insane. You'll be so popular in your house or for your guests, you'll love it. And actually, once you've done this bit, which has mixed up all of the ingredients, the rest of the cooking is so simple. It's actually brilliant. So, are you ready for our ballet dance, Glamorous? 1, 2, 3, go. We're going to bring this back over here. Once you've brought it to the boil on maximum heat on your own hob, once you've brought it to the boil, I want you to turn it down to just under number 1, or a barely blue glow if you're using gas. You put a lid on your pan, and then what we've done before that is we'll throw in the noodles. And as the noodles cook in the broth, they will soak up all of that flavoured broth, all of that flavoured stock. And that's how we're going to end up with a sort of semi-dry noodle dish. So it's not terribly saucy at all. In fact, if anything, it is semi-dry. But the flavours will be insane, and you will totally love them. So I'm not going to take up any more time on the film today, but what I want you to do is just recap on this bit. So, mix up all of your ingredients, stock, veg, everything else that we've put in, okay? Bring it to the boil. When it comes to a boil, throw in your dry noodles, okay? Once you've thrown in your dry noodles, turn it down as far as you can, put a lid on it, and leave it. Do not check it for at least 10 minutes, at least. After 10-15 minutes, check it, stir it up. What you want to do is make sure that there is no liquid left at all and that the noodles have expanded and soaked up all of that broth. And then we'll take a photo for you at the end of the session and we'll show you how it should look at the end, and you can put any toppings of extra herbs or some dried onions is nice in there as well to give it a bit of crunch. But I really hope you enjoy this dinner. Thank you very much for spending time with us today, and I look forward to hearing from you all soon. Take care.